Yes.
Good.
Oh,
How are you? How are you?
Fine, fine, Mr. Raji. Thank you so much.
Mohanty? Mohanty is there? Mohanty? I saw Brahmanand Mohanty name.
Hello. Good
Oh, he is
evening.
there. Professor Singh, Mohanty is there. Professor Singh is there, Mohanty. I've seen.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't join earlier.
Ah,
Because I
you are
was
traveling.
undergoing
Yeah.
home quarantine. I'm still under home quarantine.
We are all at home only in Mumbai. Mumbai, we are all home quarantine. Delhi fellows, all Delhi fellows are going outside, but Mumbai, we are home quarantine.
I see. I see.
So in the couple of minutes we wait for, I will just brief you about today. In this webinar 2.0, we had 2 sessions on bioenergy, and then we had last one session on solar energy. Last time we had an interesting discussion on solar water pumping, which has come into agriculture in the last 5-6 years heavily. And what are the problems we are facing, we discussed. One of the ex-DMD of NABARD was there yesterday. Today, we continue with the energy. So we have Dr. Arun Tripathi to talk on some of the solar applications in agriculture. According to me, the solar energy and agriculture engineer has been far away. I recall in 78, I went from a master's project on solar refrigeration. In AIT, I started, I remember. But today, when you see the solar energy has been, solar energy production is different altogether. The solar energy is a separate subject. We have electrical engineers in a separate subject, whereas agriculture engineer is not involved, for example, in solar pumping. And many of the activities which solar energy can come to applications. So I think our objective of Webinar 2.0 of the tag team will continue. So today we'll have Dr. Arun Tripathi as speaker, then we'll have continue with this. With these few words, I will ask officially to start the session, Dr. Indramani. You start.
Welcome, friends. A special welcome to today's speaker and Professor Singh and all other friends. You are welcome. This is again, as Dr. Sayed said, that second presentation on solar. First, we had from IIT Cont, and which was a really very wonderful presentation on technologies, both in lab and how they have applied in the field. Then we thought we should have another stalwart, from institute to teach National Institute of Solar Energy, and Dr. Tripathi, Director General of that institute. But I know Dr. Tripathi from solar and used to on solar energy quiz program and to spread awareness about solar energy among the students. And he has been associated with the MNRE from from last many years. He had 35 years experience of working in solar energy. Before taking over Director General in 2017, he was advisor, Scientist G, to Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE, and for that, Principal Scientist, then Scientist EF, and so many positions had in MNRE. He has been champion in spreading the message of solar energy and planning a number of projects related solar energy. For this, he has been, he has received so many awards and has been very closely associated with Akshay Urja, the magazine of MNRE, and he used to editor, responsible for bringing it to that label. We would like to listen because the list of awards is very long and honors, etc. That we expect a very impactful presentation from you. We are leading institute. This is a main institute under MNRE on solar, and I have visited your institute, and one of my students has worked there also, and we are in continuous discussion. We would like that how MNRE this NICE has what different technologies are there and how they are useful for the farmers. And I understand that number of technologies you have extended to Northeast, Leh, Ladakh, and others. Hope everything you will be covering. And with this, I invite Dr. Tripathi for his presentation. Dr. Arun K. Tripathi.
Thank you very much, Mishra ji. It has been really a long association with you and all the agriculture engineers fraternity. First of all, I would like to convey my regards to Dr. Gajendra Singh ji. Sir, it has been a long journey to listen to about you for a long period of time. But today I got the opportunity to be in front of you. Please apologize me because we are too young in front of you, and you have a very vast experience in this field. So please apologize. I apologize if there is any mistake we commit. It's just like speaking before such a stalwarts in the field. Thank you so much, Mishra ji. I would like
don't use such language. Teachers don't find mistakes; they find weaknesses and they try to help improve upon those areas. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's your greatness.
Perfect.
Sir, I would just like to take all of you towards a very little journey of the solar energy development in the country, and then we will focus on how it is applicable to the agriculture field. Everybody knows that
slide is on. You can tell next if you want to see.
Okay, next.
Yeah.
Next. Okay, thank you. So my structure of presentation is little like that. That some facts about the solar and renewable energy in the country. It will set the tone of the total development. Then best research, because I'll take you a little towards these solar cells and their efficiencies and what kind of developments are taking place in the country, in the world. Then manufacturing status, which is one of the very important issue. Then power schemes in India, how the solar power has reached to the level which is more than even the hydropower, which used to be the main power supplier in the country. Some barriers, standards, skill development, and so on. Few new initiatives which I have especially brought, they have relevant applications like solar cold storage, solar dryers, solar chillers, and so on for the agriculture. Next, please, sir. Just a very little about the background and the renewables development. In fact, I take always 1950 when some R&D work started in CSIR. Thereafter, there has been certain projects on renewables funded by the DST, then R&D activity by the DST. And in 1981, the government of India found that this is one of the very important area. So we must take it to the mainstream. And then additional sources of energy was created. And this commission gave its report in 6 months. And then by another year, a separate department of non-conventional energy was in place. Today, it is a full-fledged Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Next, please. Next, sir. The total Indian power sector scenario is like that. Sir, under the renewables, we have crossed about 23% of the total installations from the renewables. And you can see that it is much more than the, it is quite close to the, less than, about the double of the hydro, then thermal power, and the nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is hardly about 2%, but renewables are slowly taking over, and we hope that after a certain period of time, they might cross more limits. Thank you. Next, please. This is the estimated potential which the country has estimated through various studies and the solar insolation which we get through ISRO and our own 120 research stations across the country. We get the regular data from these 120 stations about the solar insolation and in the different geographical boundaries. You can see that more than 1,000 gigawatt can be done through solar itself if we really are in a position to do, if the resources permit. But today we have the total installation is 365 or so. So you can see that even the solar energy itself can take care of all the energy requirements in the country. Next, sir. Just a little elaboration on the solar. We have about 87 gigawatt today total installed capacity, in which the solar itself is about 35 gigawatt. The rest is the wind energy. So solar and wind, these two are the major sources of the renewables, which are being tapped. And then we have biopower. Biopower includes the bagasse-based cogeneration, the direct combustion-based biopower, and the waste to energy also. So I have taken waste to energy combined with the solar biopower. And a small hydro, of course, which is less than 25 megawatt of each plant. So total we have about 87 gigawatt total installation. Next, sir. Sir, in fact, today it is very, I can rightly say that the this is just a year-wise journey of the solar installations in the country. And I'm talking about the grid solar power. It doesn't include the off-grid applications, which are mostly relevant for the rural applications and the agriculture also. But once we have a grid solar power, it is as good as available in the rural areas also. So it is contributing towards the development of the rural areas also. Next, please. Next. This is a roadmap which the country has set for the total solar applications. That about 175 gigawatt is to be done by the next year, by the next 2 years. And this is a commitment of the Government of India towards development of the renewable power in the country, in which solar, you can see, plays a major role with 100 gigawatt. Thank you, sir. Next. Just to develop the 100 gigawatt solar vision, the National Solar Mission was launched by the government in 2010. And this mission had the two categories of the solar power projects. One was the rooftop projects, which were on the rural as well as the urban areas. And other one is the large scale project. When I say large scale projects, this means in the megawatt scale and in the gigawatt scale. And the minimum scale in this is about 500 megawatt, a single project, as good as any other power plant of a conventional power. Next, please. So the total 100 gigawatt has been divided into two. In fact, the best part in the solar development in the country is that it has been developed commercially. Today, when we started in 2010, when the mission was launched, the cost of the solar power generation used to come something close to 18 rupees a unit. And today, you can see it has reached as close as the power generation from the any conventional source if a new power plant is set up in a conventional source. So you can see that it has become possible only because the solar because the solar power is today available at the commercial rate. Next. Just a little glimpse about the different types of the solar cells which are available in the country. You can see that at the lab scale, in fact today which I am talking about the solar development at the field level, right now it ranges the efficiency from 18% to 20% maximum. But you can see that in the lab scale, up to 40% and 40% and above, the solar cell efficiencies have been achieved. And these are the different types of the solar cells being developed at different labs like Fraunhofer in Germany and the NREL in the USA and in Japan and other countries. So time is very close that if we are very hopeful to achieve the efficiency at least 25% in the field. Once we achieve the 25% of solar energy efficiency at the field level, then the solar power is going to be as cheap as any other thing, and everybody will be able to afford the system. Next, please. Next, please. This is just a interpretation of the graph which I just showed in the last slide. Next, please. Sir, in fact, these are the 7 types of different schemes by the government through which the solar energy and solar power is being proliferated in the country. The first one is the solar park scheme. This is for the development of the large size of the solar power plants in the country, in which a minimum size is 500 megawatt of a single solar power plant. And today we have 42 solar parks developed in the country with over 26,000 megawatt already capacity, which has been installed, commissioned, or in the different phases of commissioning. Then the solar energy is being tapped through defense, canal and canal top solar power plants. Then solar energy through NTPC, which are the giants for the power generation system. So they have also come into the solar business. That is how the solar power is being developed in a very large scale in the country. Solar Energy Corporation of India, which is a new corporation developed by our ministry. So this corporation is looking after the overall development of solar power in the country. Sir, a new program is the grid connected solar rooftop, in which even the small solar power plants of 1 kilowatt, ranging from 1 kilowatt to 500 megawatt, 500 kilowatt can be set up in our home, in our industry, in our rural industries, in our MSMEs, in our institutions. And when we designed this scheme, the aim was to cater the local power needs of a building, which can range from 1 kilowatt to 500 kilowatt. And this scheme is has become very popular. And today, I think many of the institutions are having at least a 500 kilowatt plant or a megawatt plant, depending upon their roofs available. And I think IARI has a very good scope and must be having a good size of the power plant. Today, being the cheapest power cost, if you install a solar power rooftop in your place, you can generate your own power at 2 rupees 50 paisa AU rate. And while our electricity bills are at least charging 8 rupees or 9 rupees a unit for the commercial institutions. And so there is a straightway commercial proposition in this. And any institution, any building, can go for this. And similarly, this kind of power, I'll come later on. There is a KUSUM scheme, especially for the rural areas and our farmers, which can take care of up to 2 megawatt solar power plant in their fields, in their rural areas, wherever the non-cultivable or the non-cultivated land is available. That is the gap in this. Next, please. So these are the major schemes which I can just tell. Solar park scheme I have already elaborated, and I'll straightway come to those schemes which are relevant for the agriculture purpose. Next, please, sir. Solar park, sir. These are just a little glimpse of the solar power, a solar park, in which the park we give the name of a solar park, in which a large area is developed by the government under our scheme, and the bids are invited from the developers, and these developers bid towards the tariff of the solar power. Means the person who bids for the lowest tariff gets the wins the bid. And these parks are such a big parks which ranges from 500 megawatt to 2500 megawatt that a single bidder cannot do. So it has been divided, up to 10 bidder can come, up to 5 bidders can come, and they bid and accordingly they win. And the power evacuation system and power transmission system is provided up to the doorstep of the solar park. So this has facilitated the complete investment by the private sector. So government is only giving, being a catalyst in developing the land, providing the transmission facility and making the water available and all, making the policies conducive towards the solar power development. However, all complete investment is being made by the developer itself. Next, sir.
I think some problem is there. Just hold on. I think
okay, no problem.
He will start it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, sir. So this is how you can see that what big size of solar power plants are available today in our country, which are catering to meeting the 23% of the total installed capacity in the country. And as far as the number of units are concerned, they are providing up to 12% of the, in terms of the electricity contribution from the renewables. Next, please. Next, sir.
Yeah, just a second. Situ?
Is it getting some?
Yeah, somewhere a line is lost there.
Okay. That is how, sir, solar energy is, this was the scenario towards the large area solar development. Now I come to,
Yes.
I think there has been some about the, okay. Now the second sector is the rooftop sector. The rooftop, in fact, sir, with your blessings, I would like to mention that this scheme was designed by me from the ministry in 2013. And this scheme, in this scheme for the first time, even the small solar installation at our roof was connected to our service line. Means when when you generate the excess solar power, it goes to the grid after you meeting the requirement of your institution. In institution, like if there is a Saturday and Sunday, institution is closed, so you can utilize this power by selling to the grid, and you get the offset of the energy in terms of the policies available for net metering and the gross metering in the country. Next, please, sir. It has a lot of advantages. Like India has a very large transmission and distribution losses. Sometimes it goes up to 22%, 30%. So if you install a solar power plant at your campus, at your building, straightway you don't lose any power and you use it. A low gestation time, a largest plant, 500 kilowatt plant can be set up in a week's time. So there is no at a very short period of time it can be set up. Even the largest solar power, 500 megawatt solar power, can be set up in 6 months' time. So comparison to other power installations, you can see that in a modular form, it is in the modular form. You can set up in a smallest and the largest one, and in a very shortest gas station time. There is no, in rooftop, there is no requirement for the additional land, and so on. Local employment generation. So this scheme has become a very good source of the local employment generation. People come, install, and they provide the after sales services also. Next, please. The mechanism which has been adopted in the country is the net metering mechanism. This is for the rural areas also, as well as the urban areas also. In this mechanism, the number of units generated and the number of units you took from the grid, they are there is a net metering system which gives you that the net of the units utilized or to be charged from you. So it has become a very common practice, and all the 36 and UTs and states, they have adopted this policy. So if you install a solar power at your roof, at your institution, you can get your electricity bill at a very reduced unit. In fact, in our National Institute of Solar Energy, we are meeting 60% of our all energy requirement from the solar power installed in the campus itself. So it is a saving, it's a huge saving every month in the electricity bill. Next, sir. These are the, I'll not go sir much into very details. These are the benchmark costs which has been marked for the solar power development. But I think all these details can be seen in my presentation, which will be available. So I'll straightway come to the different because of the time constraints and others. I'll straightway come to the to our agriculture applications. Next, sir. A little glimpse about the manufacturing system. In fact, manufacturing of the solar cells has been a challenge before the world, and India is also not left behind. Solar PV cell capacity manufacturing is something around 300 gigawatt in the country per year. Solar modules capacity is 10 gigawatt per year. However, the main raw or the main packing about the like wafers, ingots and polysilicon or silicon, it is imported. So in one way, the solar energy, we are tapping the solar energy, which is natural resources. On the other way, we are importing the solar cells, materials and other things. So this is a very, I personally do not feel it very good, because in the today's scenario, you can see that a lot of things have to be made in our country. So government has started something, but I think the much more is needed for developing our own complete manufacturing units. Next, please. Because I always use, although I'm in the ministry, I always say that we all are working for China, because China is the main beneficiary towards getting the business from us. And such a huge business, which I think not in solar, in all the areas, China is getting the business. Sir, can I just skip few slides, two or three slides, then I will come to the next. Next, sir. Next, sir. Next, sir. Sir, this slide I would like to focus, because how the solar power has come into the mainstream. It has been a very difficult journey, like any other country, because the power grid, the grid custodian of the grids, the Ministry of Power and the power sector was just 10 years before, they were not allowing any power of renewable, of solar to be flown to the grid. But this slowly and slowly this policy came, and the in fact this is all suggested by our ministry itself, in which the renewable purchase obligation. Sir, in 2003, when the Electricity Act was amended, then we got introduced the solar purchase obligation. Means any distribution company, like say for example in Delhi BSES or in other places, they have to buy at least certain percentage of power being produced from the renewables. So this is the policy and regulation in the country. That is how they are compelled to buy the renewable power. Otherwise, it was very difficult. So you can see that in the year 2021, which is right now going on, in which at least 8.75% they have, in terms of units, sir, I am talking. So they have to buy at least 8.5% of the total purchase of power from different pools through solar, which is a green power. And slowly, this may increase in the, you can see in 21-22, at least 10% they have to buy. So these are the mechanism, policy level mechanism through which this solar power has been brought to the mainstream in the country. Next, sir. Next, sir. These are the countrywide scenario, and India is also coming very close to other country. As I told that major countries are the Germany, UK, US, Brazil, In fact, sir, in Germany, in the month of May, there are certain days in which 100+% power is produced from the renewables, solar and the wind. So they use a complete, they declare that day a green power day, and they say that more than 100% power was generated from renewables. Next, please. Next, sir. I think we can skip these rooftop slides. Next. Just in the last, in the last slide, I would like to mention that today only for the residential sector, the government subsidy is available. Otherwise, the subsidy has been taken off from all other sectors. Today, in the rooftop itself, if I want to install a rooftop at my home, I can get up to 40% of subsidy for installation up to 3 kilowatt of the power plant. And up to 10 kilowatt, then we'll get up to 3 kilowatt 40%, then 3 to 10 we'll get 20%. So it's a good amount of subsidy which is available. And today, moreover, the cost of the solar power installation at home and all has come very, very less. Something around, it ranges from 30,000 rupees per kilowatt to 40,000 rupees per kilowatt. Means if I want to install a 2 kilowatt plant, I can install it at 60,000 to 80,000 rupees, depending upon the different types of cells, area, and different types of the topography of the place. And this gives the payback period of about 4 years. So in 4 years, we get our money back without any subsidy. If subsidy is there, then you get at very short period of time. Then in the next 20 years, we get the free electricity. So it's a very good proposition. So this is a scheme I was just going to talk about. The Pradhan Mantri Suraksha evam Utthaan Urja Suraksha scheme for the Kisan, for our farmers, in which the component A is 10,000 megawatt of decentralized ground-mounted grid-connected renewable power. Sir, I would like to elaborate that if a farmer wants to install the small solar power plant at their place, which is connected to the rural grid, and during the and so he can generate some income, and that will be purchased at a fixed price. For this scheme, the fixed price is ranging from rupees 6 per unit to rupees 8 per unit. So if a farmer installs, say, 1 megawatt of the solar power plant, and that 1 megawatt gives something about 1.5 million to 1.7 million unit a year. So you can multiply it by 6 rupees or 5 rupees. So you can see that in the barren land, or the land which is not being utilized, or the leftover land where solar power plant can be installed, so this farmer can earn the money. And there is a very good mechanism that there are companies, because it's a very technical a power plant. So those mechanism is there, and those companies can have a contract with the farmer. They are having the contract with the farmer for 10 years or 25 years or 20 years, depending upon the policy of the state. And then a farmer gets a fixed income every year, which is in addition to their other agricultural. But the condition is that it should not be the agricultural land which is being cultivated, because food is first and energy is next. So that is the policy which has been taken. And component B, sir, about 1.7 million solar powered agricultural pumps. This is the target. And in fact, today up to 1 million, I think less than 1 million solar power pumps are there. And much has been discussed about the solar pumping system. So this is a scheme in which up to 7.5 horsepower scheme, you get the solar power pumps, and the subsidy ranges from 30 to 40% in this. And the target is that the maximum maximum pumps which are at the ground level for irrigation should be using the solar energy. And in a solar pump, there is a scheme, another scheme for the farmers. Like if in a village there are 10 solar pumps are there, then solar in the non-using hours of the non-irrigation hours, this energy being generated from these 10 solar pumps can be pooled together and put to the local grid. So when they sell their energy, they get some money even if they are not using the solar pumps. This is just to make the optimum utilization of the solar panels is being installed in the country. Then solarization of 10 lakh grid connected agricultural pumps, big pumps and the small pumps. So there is a big scheme which is being implemented by our ministry. Next, please. These are some modus operandi, some pilot mode. We are taking 1000 megawatt capacity, 1 lakh grid connected agricultural pumps respectively, and component B will be in full-fledged manner with total central financial assistance up to that crore. So these are the scheme related data, and the scheme is in place. It is fully approved by the cabinet and is under implementation. Next, please. There is another off-grid scheme which is for solar street light systems. So this scheme is also open for the rural areas as well as mostly for the rural areas, where the installation of solar street lights will be given, is being given, and where the 75% cost by MNRE and 25% from MP LAD. So in a village or in a rural areas, these kind of equipments can be installed at a very nominal price to the rural habitats. Solar street light systems, sir, in fact, with the advent of the LEDs and combination of LED and solar, today the solar has become very economical. And sir, I remember the days in 1984, I joined this sector, and I was posted in Sultanpur district. I think this is the district of Mishraji, in Amethi area, where at that time, sir, we used to buy the solar panel of 300 rupees per watt. And to have a 25 watt bulb or 15 watt bulb, you can imagine that how expensive it was. Today, these solar panels are available at 10 rupees to 20 rupees, 30 rupees a watt. And with 5 watt panel, we can have the LED system, or 10 watt panel, we can have the LED system. So LED and the solar is a very good combination for the lighting purpose in the country. Next, sir. And this is the over 300 lights have been done. 25 lakh solar study lamp. There is another scheme using the combination of solar and the lighting system. In fact, in this scheme, we also train the local self-help group, and we encourage that they make their own solar lighting, solar pumps, solar lamps, which are the study lamps, and then these study lamps are distributed mostly free to the students, or at a very nominal price of 200 or 300 rupees. So this is the scheme in which the solar street lights and solar lamps to provide a good light source to the rural areas. This scheme is being implemented. Next, sir. Next, sir.
Yeah.
Next, sir.
Next, please, Seth.
There are certain challenges. It's not very easy to. You can see that the cost of the availability of the land. When in the starting phase, the land was cheap, and the government used to give the land, but today the land is completely commercially given. Grid instability is also an issue. That is why the spread over installation is preferred rather than having a concentrated installation at different places. Today, the energy storage is also coming up. Battery-based storage and the pump-based storage, solar pump-based storage systems are also providing the storage system. Then non-cooperation by the distribution agency. This is the biggest challenge. that the distribution agencies are little non-cooperative towards the renewables and the solar, in spite of having a lot of regulations, a lot of penalties, but slowly they are coming to on board also. Higher cost of funds. In fact, in our country, the cost of fund is very high. Everybody knows it starts from minimum 8% to 12%, 14%. The quality of solar panel and equipment. This is where our National Institute of Solar Energy uses have a quality check system. There are 6 labs developed all over the country, which have the checkings, on the spot checking, and these are the NABL accredited lab, and solar panels, all the components of the solar equipments are checked up as per the BIS standard and the IEC standards. So there are 2 kind of standards which are available here. Then cleaning of solar panel. This is also one of the big challenge in our country because the water is a scarce resource, and we can see that a large amount of water is required. But the technology has developed, and the dry cleaning of the solar panels have also come. Then the waste disposal. This problem is not being addressed right now, but this is a very emerging and big problem. Say a huge amount of the solar panels after 20 years, they are going to be the waste. Then how to dispose of these waste? So we are also working towards making the regulations. Next, please. Cleaning of solar panel. You can see that robotic cleaning has also come. Anti-soiling coating. In fact, this is a research area which has been developed, in which the solar panels are coated through anti-soiling coats, and which doesn't attract much amount of the dust. Because dust is a big problem of our country, not the problem of the European and other countries. Solar module waste. You can see this a small thing. You can see then after a big waste, how they are going to pile up. So these are the very important areas where you can see that PV module consists of glass, metals, aluminum, silicon, polymer, and others. Yes, next please, sir. Towards the storage, a combined solar power with the storage. Next slide. The combined power to bring the solar storage and the battery storage and the pump storage. A tender has been floated, in which we have got a very reasonable prices. Sir, last slide please. In which you can see that up to 300 megawatt, the peak price which have been quoted is the 6 rupees. Means average tariff price is the 4 rupees and 7 paise. Means with the 24/7 solar power supply, you can get today at 4 rupees. This includes the battery storage system, but it is limited to certain capacity. Maybe in terms of say 10 megawatt or 50 megawatt, up to maximum 50 megawatt. But if you go for the large megawatt cycle, then the large storage battery system is not. Okay. Next, please, sir. So these are the standards which have been developed by IS, or they have been adopted from the IEC. And our National Institute of Solar Energy works closely. Rather, we make the standard, and we work closely with the BIS for developing the standards for the testing purposes. So PV module test, PV inverter test, we have so many standards. And battery storage, battery test, lighting lab test, and so on. There are in solar thermal, there are many standards which are also being developed right now. Next, please. Next, please. In fact, in a large area, we need the skill to be developed towards the installation, towards the operation maintenance, towards the developing a business towards the solar energy. So a very big and large program which our National Institute of Solar Energy is implementing in the country. It is Surya Mitra program. We have given this name as Surya Mitra, which is the sun's friend. And about 42,000 Surya Mitra we have developed all over the country. We have about 200 training centers all over the country. And these training centers, we have a 600 hours module in which the hands-on training is given to the technicians. Our aim is to develop the technicians. And these technicians, they provide after-sales service. They are the entrepreneurs. They develop their own business and they go to the villages, they go to the rural areas, they go to the urban areas, and they provide all sorts of services. So this is also a very major activity of our institute. Next, please. Just a calendar. What we organize about 7-8 different types of solar trainings in the country. And we have also, it has been a very successful, a 6 months solar advanced professionals course, this one, 4th one. This is a 6 months course in which we take the students, we take the professionals, we take the businessman, and there are many people, they come for 6 months in our institute and they are completely solarized, I would say. Right from A, we start design of the plant, then business development, then how to get loans. So our aim is to develop them as a solar entrepreneurs. The 3 batches we have already done. The 4th batch is now, let us see that when we are going to organize. Next, please, sir.
Dr. Tripathi, another couple of minutes.
Yes, just new initiative. Yeah, only 5 minutes now. Sir, you can see that this is the solar dryer. Solar dryer is a very, I think, very old age technology, which is being developed by our agriculture engineering sector. This is a particular type of the solar dryer, which we especially designed for the apricot drying in Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir, and rural areas of the Leh Ladakh area. And we have installed, we are installing 300 systems in their villages. And this is basically solar drying come space heating system. So this system is not idle because there the temperature is very low. So during the idle time of the crop drying, it heats, it provides heats to the rural home. And this system has become very popular. The cost is very reasonable in this, in which we are installing about 300 systems. So now we are trying to solarize the daily use applications in the country. This is a solar ATM. We call it a solar ATM. And in our institute, we have installed 2 of these systems. And you can see the system installed at the Safdarjung Hospital, at the village Khurrampur civil hospitals, in which you put the coin or you put the card and you get the different fractions of the drinking water. RO clean drinking water we get, and our institute is completely using this. We have installed this systems in Safdarjung Hospital, many hospitals. So this has become very popular device which any institution can utilize it. Next, please. Next, sir. This is a large drinking water project, which the previous slide was. We are installing a 30,000 liters per day capacity at Faridpur village in Gurgaon, which is a very close to about 25 kilometers from my institute. And this is going to provide the piped water in 3 villages nearby, 30,000 units. So this is a cold storage. This is exclusively developed in National Institute of Solar Energy. This product is for, depending upon the utilization of the capacity, ranges from 5 tons to 10 tons of a single unit. It is fully operational by the solar energy, independent of the grid. What it does is that it uses a phase change material as a storage of the energy. And in this, we simply use the water as a phase change material. The cost of a this kind of solar cold storage, this is a solar cold storage in which you can store the vegetables, you can store the fruits, you can store anything for a transition period of time. We have so far installed about 7 systems, and it has been included in the MIDH scheme of the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, sir, there are few photographs which you can run through these photographs of the solar installation in the country. Next.
Next.
Next. 50 megawatt plant. Water heaters, everybody knows that. Next. This is the solar park, one of the solar park. And next. Another solar installation about 150 megawatt. Next. Commercial installations of the solar rooftop system in the country. So ISBT, Kashmiri Gate, Metro. So you can see that Metro, Kashmir, railways, metros, defense. So all these sectors have been tapped by us to install the solars in their area. Next. This is the Medanta, we can stay for. This is a Medanta hospital. So the previous slide. You can see this is the solar parking. In fact, if you spend some money in making the parking, you make it with the solar. So you generate, and the cost I tell you is less than your own concrete parking which we are making. So a 500 kilowatt plant has been set up in Medanta hospital, and this is the solar parking. You can see that you can utilize it commercially. Next, please. Installation, Bangalore. Sir, Chandigarh has become a solar city in which about 10% of their total energy requirement is met through the solar. You can see all these installations in Chandigarh, an engineering college, hospitals, schools, jail, every government building, every large building we have covered. Metro. Sir, this slide I would like to state. This is the largest rooftop solar power plant in our country, in the world. I mean to say, the 12.5 megawatt plant in a single roof, which is not available in any part of the world. So this is, India can proudly say that we have the largest rooftop plant in the country, and we have the largest solar power plants in our country, which are ranging from 2,500 megawatts to a single plant. So this is the development of solar energy in our country. I think, thank you very much for giving me opportunity. Time was very less and a lot of things to be covered, but I tried to excuse it. I'm very sorry I covered more of the solar development than less of the direct agriculture applications, but I think you all can understand that if we install a solar small power plant at our rural areas, then all applications can be met through this. Thank you very much, sir, for the patience here.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. It's a very interesting, and we learned about what the ministry is doing for to improve the solar energy part. And as we know already, the grid supply is very successful in India.
Yes.
And we are looking at, actually, we had yesterday a speaker talking on how to do for pumping. We'll come back to the questions. So I will flow to the questions. I have a question. I have a question first to start with. Yeah, I have a question, then I'll come back to you. For example, you told me you're going to, you have trained people who can give support for solar pump, for example.
Yes.
Okay. I heard last year the complaint that installation was, that time was only about 30,000. In Chhattisgarh, solar pumps, many of them not working. Now the question is, today I will show you also. The question is, how do you think this support group work? What is your logic behind it?
In fact, sir, this support group which I told you is for the solar plants installations, not for the pump.
Okay, thank you.
But the large group. But
okay.
these people are being given specialized training for the solar pumps also.
Thank you. Now we have, thank you very much. Dr. C.R. Mehta, your question, please. Dr. Atul, I will come back afterwards. C.R. Mehta first.
An excellent presentation. Okay.
Dr. C.R. Mehta,
first
please.
I compliment Dr. Yeah. I am audible?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
very much,
yes,
very
sir.
much.
Very much, sir.
So I compliment Dr. Tripathi for excellent and informative presentation. but I have query like Moser Beer has started manufacturing SPV panel, but that company is in big loss. They stopped it.
Yes.
So what is the reason behind that? Then another question is I observed particularly in China, most of the street lighting is by solar.
Yes.
But this is not so popular in our country. Only we are promoting rural street lighting only.
Sir,
These
your
are
first
my
question is that
for my
uh,
information.
yeah. Sir, your answer to your first question is that the Moser beer, in fact, what we can say, because the solar technology is changing very fast. And what happened that the Moser beer they installed that was a time when the China was taking over, and our not only Moser beer, then the Intersolar and other big companies also they ran out of the because of our cost difference of our cost. Second thing, the technology changed so fast. The line of manufacturing which the Moser beer installed, that became suddenly obsolete in the period, because it took some time and it became some obsolete as the new technology of polysilicon and with little higher efficiency already had come to the market. So that was a major setback in the Moser beer. I am closely associated with the Moser beer because in Greater Noida, and I visited this facility, very good facility. But I always feel very bad about such kind of. Major reason is, sir, the market. If we produce at 60 rupees a watt, then China brings at 40 rupees a watt and 30 rupees a watt. Because of the government's policies, because of our, I would say that our government should give, which they have not given much.
Yeah.
Okay,
Manufacturing.
I think we will make the answers a bit shorter. We have a lot of questions. Now I will give Atul Mohit, please ask your question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Atul.
Thank you for the nice presentation. My question is, we installed a RESCO model around 300 kilowatt in the university.
Yes.
And that hesitation or that obstacles from the DISCOM or distribution company, particularly MSCB, is lot of there.
Yes.
But that doesn't solve our problem of the farm irrigation, because we are not included in the subsidy component of the for the purchase of the SPV pump.
Yes.
Now my question is, we are waiting for the scheme, that is the solar agri feeder. Solar agri feeder, the scheme which is launched by the Maharashtra government. What is your perception regarding that one, for the particularly for the agriculture pumping system?
In fact, sir, agriculture pumping, you mean to say pumping through grid system?
Yeah.
Or the standalone?
No, pumping through the grid, but dedicated manufacturing by using the solar energy.
Solar energy, yeah. In this, our scheme, which for the farmers, which has come up to 2 megawatt installations.
Okay.
That scheme is basically aimed for meeting the rural grid and the rural farm related operations power requirement. If a farmer installs a 2 megawatt capacity in a village, 2 megawatt is a big capacity which can be utilized for all the purposes.
Okay.
So that scheme, KUSUM scheme, which has come, and in this scheme, a very good tariff is paid to the farmer, because aim is also to develop his income.
Okay.
Okay.
This scheme is exclusively for this purpose.
Okay. Thank you. I will take one more question. I think quick question, Dr. Brahmanand Mohanty, please. Dr. Brahmanand Mohanty.
Yes, it's more of a comment than question. The numbers I heard from you is so attractive.
So your voice is little.
I wonder why the rooftop installations have not really taken off in the same manner. I hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
now I can tell you. He is asking about why from the figures what you rooftops, they have not taken up still now.
Yeah, rooftop has become a little lagging behind the scheme. There are two reasons for that. The one reason is that everybody is the because the government suddenly withdrew the subsidy from the commercial, institutional, and the large scale plants. So leftover plants are only for the residential sector.
Thank you.
And
yeah. Dr. Gajan Singh,
sir,
Yeah,
please.
I think, Syed, you will come to that. Dr. Tripathi, what kind of monitoring system you have that so much subsidies given to so many plants?
Dr. Singh, I will explain that also. Then we'll have a question with him.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay. Just keep that in mind. Okay.
Yeah, please. I'll get. Okay, I think the question, only one question I'll allow because next we have two more speakers. So on whatever importance of Webinar 2.0. So I'll allow a question from PK Sahu. Make it short, please.
Yeah, definitely. Dr. Tripathi, it is a nice presentation. My query is why only we are concentrating on PV modules. So there are other application of solar energy in agriculture. Why we can't think of? Why
tell me one, please. Tell me one, please.
Sir, PV module is a resource of the solar.
One second. I don't understand the question. You tell me again which other possibility other than PV modules are there in solar electricity.
With phase change material also, we can use the dryer. Solar steels are there. So many applications.
No,
without PV module. I don't.
No, yeah, sir, agree. Please, I think Dr. Arun, you can reply.
Yeah, phase change material is a very good option in which, sir, the dryer which I showed to you is with the phase change material. It is for three days storage system. We use wax as a phase change material.
Yes.
And it has a very good applications. Solar stills are, I mean, up to drinking water level capacity, they have not come to very commercial scale. Otherwise, that's also a good technology. PV is such a thing which is a very quick installer, and you use it for 25 years and you reap the benefit of it. That is why the solar thermal power, sir, would not take off in this country. Solar thermal PV has taken off when we started the both power together.
Okay, thank you. There are a lot of chat questions, are there? I will come back to the questions after the two speakers are completed. Sorry for that. Now, next I would like to request Robesh Maiti to come. I will give the background of this.